Seattle Indian Health Board rose from the social justice movements of the late 1960s and early 70s.
It was started by a group of these dedicated, passionate volunteers.
We did not have computers then, and you could count the number of doctors on one hand.
The work that Seattle Indian Health Board was doing was just awe-inspiring. Clinics throughout the country have benefited from the work that's being done here. It was a time of assimilation. The Relocation Act really encouraged Native people to move out of reservations and into urban areas.
They gave everybody a one-way bus ticket and said, if you want better access to economic opportunities, you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, we will give you a one-way bus ticket from your reservation into 12 relocation sites. When Native people arrived, they were not met with those promises.
A lot of Natives in Seattle were finding that the jobs that were promised weren't here. Education wasn't a possibility for a lot of people.
The benefits we were promised as American Indian Alaska Native people were being limited by the federal government to only tribal lands.
We lost a lot. Access to our land, we lost a lot of our relatives. This was really a form of cultural genocide.
But we did what we do best. We came together, all different tribes, and said, just because we live in cities doesn't mean that our benefits disappear.
The government owed something to us. Nobody else is going to give us the things that we need. We really have to provide that for ourselves. And those agreements listed healthcare.
One of the most beautiful things about the story of the Seattle Indian Health Board is how Indigenous women came together to say our people deserve more.
Bernie White Bear partnered with the American Indian Women's Service League to start to form free clinics.
They literally moved a file cabinet out of a file room and started providing services to our people.
When they got their 501c3 and became the Seattle Indian Health Board, Bernie White Bear was the first person hired as the executive director.
Since that time, we have grown from moving that file cabinet over to now we're a $32 million organization.
What is the next 10 years going to look like? What's the next 20 years going to look like? That is our responsibility to continue what they started, to ensure that we are not only here 50 years from now, but 5,000 years from now. That is the blessing that we have here at SIHB.
Noah Hidarik, anyway, Turahe. Tatasad Katsu de Yaqui. Hello, everybody. My name is Howie Echo-Hawk. I am a producer of this event with the Seattle Indian Health Board, the Indigenous People Festival 2021. We're still here. It's a year later after doing this last one virtually, and I have longer hair now because that's how time works, and your hair grows at lengths as you wait, it turns out. I've been on this chair for a long time. I'm very excited to be here with you all tonight. It's a wonderful time to be Indigenous. Indigenous Peoples Day was yesterday. I like to say that Indigenous Peoples Week is just like the greatest thing that can ever happen to a human being. If you're out there and you have not experienced the splendor of Indigenous like art and life, then I welcome you because you're going to have a good time tonight. We have a wonderful week laid out of some panels, and tonight a performance and a concert on Friday. There's also a walk and a run that's happening at Daybreak Start if you're in Seattle. So shout out to all of you people out there in the world, in the comments, wherever you are. Please post, if you're Native and you're watching, post inside the comments what your tribe is, where you're watching from, and please share this video. If you share this video and you like it and you comment that you shared it, we'll find out who you are, and then we'll send you some sort of cool gift. We're going to pick one of you randomly. It's not all of you. I don't know how many people are watching. There's a lot. There's a lot of you. That's too many. I can't give you that many gifts. It's too many gifts. I can give one of you a gift. So please share this video, and we're going to do that. I'm in the studio with Michael B. Main, our video producer. Hi, Michael. Michael's back there, and so we're holding it down inside the studio on Pioneer Square. I'll just tell you a little bit about the week. Like I said, we have a lot of cool panels, and which I'm really excited about. Starting tomorrow, we have a panel called I See You, Black Natives in Discussion, that's hosted by Amber Starks, otherwise known as Melanin Muskogee, on Instagram with Deontay Moore and Paige Pettibon. Sorry, Paige. And also after that, we have Reds Dogs in Rutherford Falls, Indian TV time. We have a lot of cool native TV shows out there in the world right now. And so me and Janice Schmeeding are going to talk. That's right. I get to talk to Janice Schmeeding. That's going to happen. This is my wish fulfillment. This is the wish that I made. And so I get to do that. And on Thursday, we have Boarding School Survivors, Healing Hope and Justice, which will be hosted by my sister and Executive Vice President of the Seattle Indian Health Board, Abigail Echo-Hawk, with panelists Fred John, my uncle, and Bill Hall, who are both boarding school survivors. And then Thursday night, we have, that's right. Thursday night, we're going to have a replay of last year's performance. The Seattle is Native Land. We worked really hard on the last year, and we're really excited to play it again for you. But before that, we're going to have a special premiere of Haley Teothi, the drag queen. She has a wonderful music video that we're going to premiere that night. So please tune in. And then Friday, we have Native Chefs, Indigenous Food is Sovereign, with Halal Echo-Hawk, another sister of mine, Carlos Baca and Andrea Murdoch, who are all Indigenous chefs and land and food workers. And then we have the concert, which is going to have Weed Rat, Quinn Christopherson, and Superman. So please get ready for this wonderful week of events. I can see some things. Hey, we got a Hopi and a Navajo from Scottsdale, Alaska Native, Haida. Oh, hi, Annette. I love Annette. Annette Townsend is Pawnee. Shout out to the Pawnee. Got some Yakima in there. Patricia is Haida and Shimshan. Pamela. Yeah. Yes, so excited to have you all in the chat. Please do share. Please do share this thing. So before we get into the performance tonight, we have a special video from Esther Lucero, who is the president of and CEO of the Seattle Indian Health Board, which we are going to go to right now. So please stay tuned.
Yes, hey everybody, my name is Esther Lucero. I am Diné on my mom's side, and I'm Latina on my dad's side. And I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO for the Seattle Indian Health Board. I am talking with you today because I just want to let you know who the Seattle Indian Health Board is, what we do. So the Seattle Indian Health Board is comprised of several components. We're probably best known for the health and human services that we provide. That's an array of health and human services from primary care, behavioral health, dental, substance use disorder services, and on the human services side, we do nutrition, WIC, homeless case management, and we do gender-based violence work and that type of work. That's our clinical services. And we have actually created the very first of its kind, our Indigenous knowledge-informed systems of care, meaning that we provide all of those services in parity, and we center ourselves on traditional Indian medicine. We are very proud of this effort and the fact that we are doing this in a way that is really culturally respectful and is serving the people that recognize that culture is prevention, and strengthening our cultural identities is one of the ways that we are actually going to heal as a community. Additionally, we operate the Urban Indian Health Institute, which is one of 12 tribal epidemiology centers in the nation, and the only one that has a national scope because we serve all of the urban programs across the country. We've been very proud of the work that we produced out of there regarding data on missing and murdered Indigenous women, the only COVID report for American Indians, Alaska Natives. We've had some incredible, innovative, dynamic work come out of that team. We also support a really robust workforce development program. Our family medicine residency program is one of the best. And out of the 6 residents we have, I believe 5 of them are actually American Indian, Alaska Native, and it's a testament to our commitment to building the next Native health workforce. We've also been really connected to policy and advocacy. This is part of our legacy. We were the first urban Indian health program to provide a congressional testimony, and it's something that we continue to do to this day. Additionally, we have expanded our policy work from just the federal level to the state level, and now working with city and county governments, and even sometimes community governing boards. All of this together is what makes the Seattle Indian Health Board so effective for our community. We have a couple of new sites opening up in the next year. We'll be opening a new site at Lake City in North Seattle. We're doing this in partnership with Hopeline, which is a food bank, actually, and they have a desperate need for health services, and many of our Native families have actually been relocated north. And so we're excited to be opening that clinic site in January. Additionally, we'll be opening a clinic site in Pioneer Square. We're doing this in partnership with our community partners, Chief Seattle Club, which is a homeless day shelter for American Indians, Alaska Natives, and we'll be opening a 3,000 square foot clinic there, offering the same services that we provide in our international district right now. So all of these things, and for all of these reasons, we are asking you to make a commitment to us as an organization in supporting our communities. Every single thing we do here is dedicated to the love of Native people. And as the first people of this land, we recognize that by honoring that history, legacy, and current state, that our allied communities can actually help advance our goals toward becoming a healthy community. And so we are asking you to offer donations. And this week, we actually get to celebrate Indigenous people. And we celebrate them through Indigenous Peoples Festival. We are the core organizing body for Indigenous Peoples Festival. This is something that we do every year. We typically do it in person at the Seattle Center in June. But due to the COVID environment, this will be the second year that we're actually hosting a virtual experience. And I have to tell you, what I love about the virtual experience is that we get to share this broadly. We get to reach communities all around the globe and really share our cultural experiences, both our traditional ways of being and knowing and our current contemporary ways of being and knowing. We're offering an array of performances and panels and discussions that are sure to enrich your understanding and commitment to American Indian and Alaska Native people. So it is my privilege and joy to honor our performers, our contributors, and to provide a platform for the Seattle Indian Health Board to highlight our quality services. And with that, I just really appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much to Esther for that introduction and telling us a little bit about the Health Board. Please do support the Health Board. It is an amazing place, and it just is really supported the Native community here throughout the year, and the Urban Indian Health Institute, just doing stuff all over the place. If you're watching, you probably know, but if you don't, then I'm so excited to have you here. So tonight, we have our first performance of this year, so I guess it's the only one. It's something that we worked really hard on. While we cannot wait to do this in person again, we are still very excited that we were able to produce some really cool stuff for you guys. And so we spent a lot of time working with some poets, Fabian Romero and Delia Gomez. We had them record some poetry for us, and then we put that poetry to some music and visuals, and got some lovely dancers, MacKenzie Neusiok and Stephy Styles, to dance to them, and it's a really awesome piece that I think we're very proud of. Is there anything else I need to tell you before that goes on? No, I wish I could have your feedback is what I want. I wish I could hear your voices out there, but it is nice to see that there's so many relatives in the comments. Please do, again, share this video and get ready to settle in for this amazing performance piece we have, which we are going to go to right now. I will see you afterwards.
Not so long ago, our ancestors dreamed futures spun in thousands of directions. We came from the stars, and our future was bright. Not so long ago, our ancestors knew the names of the mountains, the plains, the plateaus, the rivers, the oceans, the deserts. They would call to them. They would tell them their stories, their hopes, their pains, their loves, their lives. And the mountains, the plains, the plateaus, the rivers, the oceans, the deserts, they would tell their stories in movements so long and so deep that even now you can see and hear them. Our futures are known to them. Our stories will be told by them long after we have moved on to the next journey. Our bodies will join theirs and will tell the next generation's stories. Not so long from now, our children and their children and their children will know our names. We will be streets. We will be buildings. We will be mountains. We will dream futures spun in thousands of directions from thousands of hearts. We come from the stars, and our future is bright.
Intergenerational. Nate. As far back as I can remember, as my mother can remember, my grandmother can remember, you remember, we have been here. Since time immemorial, timeless beings. The only measure of time, the beating of our strong hearts. My mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. My strength is intergenerational. My will is intergenerational. Our life force is intergenerational. We do not end at our fingertips. We only begin in our bodies. We live in every beat of our hearts and our breasts, every beat of the drum in our hands, every beat of the deer's foot on the earth, every beat of the hummingbird's wings. As far back as I can remember, my mother remembers, my grandmother remembers, you remember. Your life does not end at your fingertips, children. Your life only begins in your body. You hold the strength of your mother, your grandmother, of generations and generations of Chicanas, of Hubi, of women. You are timeless, immortal, Chikti, forever. Wawate.
testimonio. My queerness is historical. From the earth, from deep waters, it is a brew from my ancestors, a melting rebel heat contained in my body. When I was young, I listened to the tias and my mother talk openly about their preferred outcomes from struggles endured in marriage or within the patriarchal hierarchies that they navigated. Work, family, immigration processes, education, and so on. The kitchen that held these stories grew big into a world of matriarchal thrivance and abundance, a river of possibility to follow, a stream of hope outside of the systems, forces, and powers that prevented the women in my family from being valued. With earth coming out of my mouth, I told my ama that I wanted to live a different life than the one that I was being told I was being prepared for. I didn't want to be a wife. I was 9 years old. My second memory, a warmth grew from my chest as I realized my crush on a girl on the bus. To protect my heart, I wrote her name as Bobby in my journal because maybe, just maybe, this little earth would settle into a mass of unmoving rock. But it did not. These are all memories from my first few years in the United States. If I were to stay in Michoacan, I believe the rumbling earth would still be there, but would only move with the right people. Still, being a rumbling earth mover in a world that wants you to be concrete and proper meant that I had to unlayer the matter that suffocated me from growing. I had rubbish from settler societies in Mexico and the United States to shove off, or burn, or release. Hundreds of years of compost waiting to be mixed and spread over the earth to feed the soil, to grow something new. I think this is what queer people do. We are the compost mixers, the flames, the fluid that this world needs to be balanced, and that is why we are what is good in the world. When I was brave enough to show my light, I asked questions. Mami, ¿hay gente gay en la familia? She looked at me curious and explained to me that we don't have gays in the family. We have rumors. So I live like a rumor does, quiet yet brazenly, suspect yet innocently. It became clear that my flame couldn't be put out by prayers or God or shame or obligation. No matter how many boyfriends I said I loved, I really just wanted their freedom. I fell in love with their ability to be wrong yet still confident, and the bits of feminine that leaked from their eyes when they felt desire or were vulnerable. I made relationships to find the queer, made relationships to feel queer. I rescued, I fought, I fucked. I was flame and mixer, molcajete y lumbre. From the moments that I got to escape the false permanence of settler heteronormativity, I grew bigger dreams and bigger desires. I believe my queerness is indigenous resistance. It is evidence that the cruel Spanish conquistadores couldn't kill us off, indigenous and queer. We are what is right in the world. "13 years sober." 1. The pattern can be traced through some bloodlines along with questions about the root or the catalyst. Was it when the land was ripped from our flesh in the name of God? Was it after many of our ancestors left the earth before their time? Was it when our libraries were burned, when bodies were burned? You don't know, but you feel it all. 2. Do you remember being unable to touch the ground? The years that you asked, do I belong to the wind or the birds? Do they know my great-grandmother? Can they lead me to the pueblo that sits where my story begins? You begged the bottle for direction. 3. Spin, 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 the cycle that felt unescapable. Once you were asked what you needed the most and you couldn't answer because never had you thought of yourself as needing things attainable. Everything was a mountain, and you were too small to know the way. Your flesh, a mountain. Your heart, a mountain. Your future, a mountain. 4. You found people to tell your secrets to that could forget you altogether. Prove, you're nothing. Prove you're internal. 5. The drinking dreams never leave. The smell washes the sleep from your eyes some nights. The things you said haunt you. You see loves fall from pedestals and hope buried under crumbled bridges and broken promises. 6. Some mornings you choose sobriety. Some mornings it chooses you. You follow routine instead of the pull to chase that feeling that you got once when you were 17 and wanted everyone in the room to see you. Ah, the power of being seen, that power of being trouble enough to be something, and you wanted it again. As years move forward, that feeling feels less and less, but it still hangs on to your fingertips, a raindrop that does not dry, a paper cut that does not heal. 7. Do you remember the first day of touching the ground? You had sea legs, it seemed, as you looked for any sign that this was the right way or maybe the only way, or if there was a way back without losing everything. There wasn't. Not this time, but you got lucky that you had something to lose. Some don't. You feel a 24-hour chip in your hand, grooves like the leaves in your abuela's garden, and from this, you will bloom. You feel, but it will not happen without feeling thorn and open wounds. You let the earth receive you. 8. Poetry comes when you are patient. This is new. The waiting for words to appear, waiting for things to mean something. With booze, it all spilled, but you never wrote it down. It lived through you. You spoke in prose and wounded ego, but it left as soon as you woke. 9. One birthday you decide to celebrate, the first since you got sober, the first without booze and lamenting, the first year past the one you were sure would be your last. 2 friends, 1 meal, laughing until 2 a.m., aware, awake. On the drive home, you pass the closing bars and the crowds outside. You see yourself looking at yourself and you mouth, "Thank you." 10. No one tells you that it is possible to rebuild bridges, only that you burn them down. The first 7 years is moving boulders and beams and calculating the weight you can carry if the other person carries some too. The labor of loving is not simple. It can mean loving the rubble between you and them. It can mean accepting that ruins exist instead of relationships. 11. The date you chose sobriety becomes a time marker. You remember the time BYGS, before you got sober, and others after just are. They exist without explanation, like BYGS, time slipped between drinks, and mistakes felt like confirmations of being a failure. In the last few years, you have felt the other side of trying, the follow-through that laces you to dreams and process. 12. Sobriety can be political. Sobriety can be decolonial. A decision to live in order to help other queer Indigenous people live too, without superiority. This life doesn't mean more than someone who survives by the bottle or substance. 13. It has taken 13 years to accept that what became a poison saved your life many times. The messiness held hidden truths that you couldn't quite reveal. The long nights allowed you to find one reason to stay and the many reasons to leave this world. Like your first drunken kiss with the boss's daughter, the poems, the 2 a.m. protest signs, the fists in the air, the grass against your knees, your first girlfriend, the rain in your hair, the many new best friends with no last names, late mornings, laughter, the pinky promises. Once those moments faded into foggy memories and your path forward felt full of endings, you made a new path and chose life again. 13 years sober.
On the border. On the border you built without my permission. A line drawn in the sand, and you tell me to be on one side. According to you, the land on either side is not mine. So here I live, on the border. You always tell me, no, you're too Mexican, and you always tell me, no, you're too native. Do you speak Spanish? Because a real Mexican would know that. I guess you're just native. As if the fluency in the language of my colonizer determines my identity. Did you grow up on your res? What's your blood quantum? You're not a real native, you're a Mexican. Always asking me to prove myself to you, prove who I am as if you're in charge of who I am. Here on the border, where I am always too much and somehow never enough. Here on the border where I belong to a line in the sand and not on my own land. Here on the border where I'm a little Mexican and a little native. But your borders aren't real simply because you say they are. I am not a little Mexican and a little native. No, I am 100% all of both. Because I won't be defined by your borders anymore. I won't be told where I belong and who I belong to. I know who I am. And I know my people. And they know me. So forget you and all your borders. 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 Dirty knees. My favorite childhood memories are red. Red like the sunburn across the bridge of my nose. Days spent soaking up rays of the sun, getting as close to the color of the earth around me as possible. Closing my eyes, facing the sky, the red-orange of my eyelids looking back at me. I am burnt sienna. I hated the color pink. Not because I didn't want to be girly, but because my cousins told me not to. Don't be like the other girls. Pink like the frills they dressed me in for church. Petal pink. Pure. Pink like my tongue that trips over my own language, rough terrain I should be familiar with, and the white, hot shame of not knowing. White like snow-colored streets of a small town, the boards at the front of each class, and the skin of my bullies. White like the cream my grandmother gave me when I had spent too long in the sun. She didn't see I was trying to grow like the trees and the weeds, green. The green of rolling down hills, grass stains and nopales, dirty lake water and forest cover. Home sweet home. Yellow. Pyrex on countertops, yellowed with age. The books of pages, what felt like an escape. Daisy crowns and banana Laffy Taffy. Small happinesses. Brown like my bare toes in the sand and under fingernails after mud pies and potions. Brown like the boxes I packed my life into over and over and over, rootless. Blue. Blue ocean waves against my shins and the feeling you could be swallowed whole at any moment, ripped from the shore. The great vastness of the unknown. Purple. Bruises from falls, heartbreaks, fat lips, and dirty knees.
hiking in Michoacan. We walk into the caves with shoes that pinch toes, the smell, the screaming scent, bats stir. I imagine what it must have been like when the air smelled like this everywhere, when you could look and not see where the tree stopped. I want to imagine so I can become. On the way back, I hear the parting creatures making trail of wilderness, moving trees closer to my feet. I once was told that we are never alone, that even in stillness there is will from the elements around us that can hold us or reject us into action, and I want to believe so I can become. Once we reach the trail that takes us home, we see the peak of the empire, a white cross piercing the sky in ecstasy. The sexuality of the church has always been known, a denied yet violent desire. A chain that cinches skin and makes stigmata, a mark of the witch burrowing into the back of your neck, hidden by a ribboned braid. You fall to the ground to wish for a different world, to become. Earth told me. Material grief and hope come down in the winter. The snow makes a home on every inch of our way. If I were to believe that this world tells me that my connection to snow means nothing, and that the earth and water are not beings with will and spirit, I would believe that to possess is to become more human, and possess and become less tree, less earth, less connected. Before 1492, my elders tell me that everyone and everything belonged, that there was a balance that now lives in the noise of the city, the churning decolonial hope that visits every time we watch the sun fall and the moon rise. What would this land look like if every person had a home? If no one was marked for cages? If we valued sharing over possessing? Would we understand what the earth tells us? Would we feel the balance restored? Would we feel the balance restored? Would we feel the balance restored?
Naswa Hiapsa Bawe Kuchu Bwame. The sea, the fish, the food, the salty water runs in my veins. You can taste Somo Ichia on my skin. Stolen from us, our relationship with the sea, survival dependent on them. Our survival linked to productivity, returning to us only the bare bones of life. Bawe kuchu bwame, hyapsate bawe ye ka kokwe. But we fight. We fought for our survival. We reclaim our sea. We reclaim our food. We reclaim our relations. Naswa Hiapsa. Our people trapped in an endless loop. Do we stay? Do we move forward? Or do we just grow? We grow. We are released from the shackles of your expectations. We grow, we thrive, we do not stay stagnant. Despite your best efforts, we are alive. We choose life. So you forget that we are not just the people you see before you. No, we are millions. We are our mothers. We are our sisters. We are the sea and the grass. We are our ancestors. We are generation after generation of warriors. We fight. We survive. Nasua Hiapsa. Bawe Kuchu Wame. The fish, the food, the salty water that runs in my veins. You can taste Soma Ichia on my skin. A survival linked to productivity, returning to us only the bare bones of life. Bawe Kuchu Wame. Hiapsite Bawe Ye Ka Kokwe. Nasua Hiapsa.
Thank you all so much for watching. That was beautiful. Delia Gomez, Fabian Romero, Stephy Styles, MacKenzie Neusiok, just super talented people. Music by Tawihisi and Ghost Horse. An amazing performance to watch. And I appreciate all of your comments and everybody showing so much love. Yes, we do support queer people. This is a queer person, a queer Native person supporting other queer Native people. I was just thinking about like all the great artists I know in Seattle and the Indigenous ones that we're pretty much all queer, you know? And so it was definitely a mission of the health board to support queer folks. And somebody's watching, this is just interesting to me. Somebody's watching on an Oculus. That's cool. I would also like to watch this on an Oculus. And shout out to Jason that there's some Microsoft Native employees watching to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Shout out to everybody in the comments. You guys are all fantastic. You're people watching from Pittsburgh, all sorts of different tribes. You all are so awesome. And shout out to the people at the health board that are watching right now. Shout out to the people that really helped make this happen. Alyssa, Francesca, Ibi, the whole comm staff. Couldn't do it without you. Shout out to Michael B. Main behind the camera. Love you. You're the best. Yeah, this has been a wonderful start to the week. We have a lot more performances, so please tune in tomorrow at 4. I mean, a lot more performance. We have a lot more events, things happening. So tomorrow at 4 p.m., I See You, Black Natives in Discussion. Then 5 p.m., Res Dogs in Rutherford Falls. That's me and Janice Meeting just hanging out. And so before we go, I want to thank our sponsors. Bring that slide up, please. Thank you so much to our sponsors this year. As we're getting ready to go back into hopefully doing this live next year, we're very excited that our sponsors chose to sponsor this virtual event. Thank you to Amera Group, Arcora, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Chief Seattle Club, Community Health Plan of Washington, Friends of Waterfront, Kaiser Permanente, Molina Healthcare, Pyramid Communications, Sea Alaska, Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, Seattle Center Foundation, Seattle Foundation, Washington Association for Community Health. Thank you so much, sponsors. Thank you to the Seattle Center Festall. We appreciate you guys, and we can't wait to do this live at the Seattle Center in June, hopefully. Yeah, so again, all of you in the comments, I've appreciated you so much. Keep on showing your love in there. Share these videos. Share this video. Show a friend. If you liked what you saw, show a friend. And so we'll see you tomorrow night at 4 p.m. I appreciate you all so much. Have a wonderful night.